Women Krump Wednesday, where the women in Krump are celebrated for what they do so well every day. Because the women in Krump are buck in every way. On Wednesdays, we get bug. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Buckerfly, and you're watching Women Crump Wednesday. Our special guest today is Pixie from LA, and she was in Crump, went climbed the coast to the beginning. So like I wanted to have her talk about her experience. So hi, Pixie.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
So when exactly did you start Crump?
Okay, so out here in the West, we have two different descriptions of that. You have when you got introduced to Crump, and when you actually get noticed. So I was introduced to Crump in 2003. A friend of mine mentioned it, like, hey, they're having this thing at the Davy Island Studios in Culver City. Go check it out. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Mind you, at this time, clown dancing kind of died off, so it was a little weird. Like, people were still clown dancing, that's my mindset,
Mhm.
and it was a totally different thing going on, and so I took that with me. uh, Met up with some friends, like, hey, they're dancing like this now, we have to dance like this, and we started going back and forth, and it was called Battle Nights. Tommy Clown through it. So about a year or so after that, I met up with my first fam. They had a group called Bottom Line. Their brother was one of the originators of Cartoon Families. So his name was Stick. Well, his name is Sticks. He's heavily in the industry. He's a songwriter. He works for the Clippers, all kind of crazy stuff. It's really cool. But so 2004 is when I actually was on the map. Like I had a crew. Our crew is getting booked to do these main events for the first Krump events that are popping off in different regions. And it wasn't as easy as it is now to session. You had to kind of push your way through the session. I'm like the only girl out there in the session throwing bowls with these guys, and so people are starting to notice who I am. And a little bit after that, 2005 is when I met my second big homie, because my first big homies had stopped crumping to a certain extent. And my second big homie was Big R. He was one of the Krump Kings that would judge almost every event. No matter if we're in Lancaster to San Diego, he's judging the event. So I got to sit on the front line and see everybody who's up and coming. I got to hear the chatter. I got to get on stage if I wanted to. So around 2004 is when I officially, was on the map in Krump on the West.
Okay. That, that was a lot of history. I love it. Um, so, okay. So, all right. I had the question like in my head.
You're good.
All right. So, what, how did you continue on through Crump, in the beginning? Okay, that was a weird question. Okay. So, as a woman in those like beginning days, what was the experience like?
Um, I can truly say it was totally different in a positive way. We came up from an upbringing where, men protected the women, brothers protected their sisters. So you had a lot of genuine people in Krump that would protect the women, in Krump. So when I was dancing, my big homie overshadowed everything. Like, don't go over there, don't talk to that person, stay over here. I never got any drama. Not just him, but a lot of my close friends in Krump that were males always protected me to make sure that I wasn't, influenced by anything negative. I wasn't picked on, anything like that. And that wasn't just me, though. It was other women in Krump that were treated the same way. People really were overprotected because it wasn't that many of us.
Yeah.
So that was it was a little more respectful, and we were younger, so it's kind of, hard to believe that. We were only like 15, 16, and, these other guys that are protecting us are 15 and 16, and they were very mature about it. So, you have some immature people, but majority of them were, they didn't play that at all.
Yeah. If you could go back to any era of Krump, which era would you go back to?
I don't want to sound like that old head, but my generation, like, only because it was the dawn of the first in Krump. So you had your first Krump events, your first Krump music. Krump is breaking into the industry, so it was a lot of firsts. Also, a lot of regions in LA that we didn't know it existed. Like, you didn't really drive past Long Beach in Krump. So Krump gave us opportunity to travel, in-state, out-of-state, overseas. And during my generation, it was a little bit easier to do that because it was new, and everyone wants to book everyone because they want to meet, people from the Mecca. So we worked hard though. It was a lot harder. You really have to throw some arm swings to get noticed and, get that recognition and all that. But I definitely say only because I really worked hard, dancing. So I'd rather work hard than just take the easy route. So that's why I would go back to my generation for sure. Yeah. So no, like, if we could time travel back to my generation, I would love to have all the rookies of this generation hop in that session and feel how it felt. It was carefree, judge-free. Everyone's emotional. Everyone's feeling how you're feeling. That energy, that hype. It wasn't fake hype. It was like, hey, I'm rooting for you. I feel what you're feeling. Like, I'm going through it with you. Like, that essence is just, it's one of those things, like, you cannot fake it. You can't make it up. Like, last year, we had a OG session. I'm talking Little C. He didn't dance, but he came. There's Prissy, Baby C, all the cartoons, they were there. And Casey, he got a chance to be there. Casey versus Styles, he got to be there. Tiny Eyes was there. Hitman. It was just a lot of us. I posted a picture of it. We did two. The first one was dope. It was Miho, ER, Boomer. If anybody knows who Boomer is, he's a vet. He's, Slayer was there. So we got to have two OG sessions, and, my OGs and vets came, and it felt like that. It felt like 2004 backyard session. Like I said, so-and-so had a bad day, and we're just pouring into him, and we're throwing this session, and we're just jumping off each other. But that's where I would take the rookies on the field. See, if I was Miss Frizzle, we'd hop on the Magic School Bus and go to my generation for all the rookies. All you guys have to come. But definitely, yeah, that would have been it for sure.
That would have been fun. Like,
heck yeah.
Who are some of your biggest influences in Krump?
Oh man. Shoot, of course, Miss Prissy. When I came in the game, she was that woman figure. Daisy, she was out there throwing bows. Queen Bee, man, even though we ended up being really good friends, but just watching her, she was one of the first that I've seen, before I was out there dancing. Definitely, as far as females, those three right there for sure was like, I want to be tight like them. I want to be like them, in this. As far as guys, Rap and Mickey, Hitman, oh my gosh, like they were the it factor in Krump when I came in the game. Like, they were just creating these styles, and just it was that wow factor when I came in the game. Of course, HOF as a whole, Foolish, Goofy, Pico, all them, because they had this whole different swag when it came to Krump, but Little Rowdy for sure, you know, in the 818. But yeah, those are the also Solo too. Solo for sure. I wanted to be under Solo back in the day, but you couldn't fam hop, so it wouldn't let me. You know, you couldn't have two names in Krump, so that was, you know, I stuck with my big homie. But definitely them as a collective definitely paved the way for me.
Nice. Yeah, that's an interesting thing about fam hopping and stuff. Like I see a lot of that nowadays. Like, so that's like, I like that. I like that you can't, like, that you couldn't do that back then.
Yeah, it was like in Krump, it was a lot of unspoken rules, you know, but that was number one. You know, it was no fam hopping because it was about loyalty more than a dance. Like, I can truly say that. So when people start doing that, you know, they were looked at as weak, fake, you know, all that, you know, disrespectful. And you know, now I know it's a whole new generation, so different things are tolerated. So I don't knock it at all. Now, you know, I respect it because it's a new generation. Whatever the rules are now, that's what they are. You know, I'm not one to, you know, I'm not here to start any drama or any mess. I'm a roll with it, you know, so definitely.
What are some elements of Krump that that you wish were back, like that we had now?
I mean, elements as far as the dance or the atmosphere?
The whole culture, the dance, everything.
Okay, so one, definitely history. Learning your history was the first thing I had to do in Krump before I got to dance, you know. Also fundamentals, you know, the fundamentals are in place to help you really, like, you know, create your own individuality, you know, not to keep you in a box. And they had the bang challenge, and it really exposed a lot of Krumpers not knowing their fundamentals, you know. And when you lack, you know, foundation, it shows in your Krump. But I really wish that people would take the fundamentals of Krump, you know, the basics, the arm swings, chest pops, the bangs, incorporating your Krump, because it'll make you look that much better, you know, that much different. So this those two for sure.
Okay. So where have you been, like, as far as traveling with Krump?
Oh man, okay, so I got to give you some LA history so you can understand how just traveling to a different city is a big deal.
Okay.
So growing up in LA, a lot of people never left their city. So I never knew the IE existed. I never knew Oceanside existed. I'd never been in Lancaster a day in my life. You know, I never been to the Valley. I've always been in Inglewood, you know, LA. So just traveling outside of my city was like a huge deal. You know, just being, you know, 16 in LA, you don't do that. You know, you may drive to Vegas with your parents. That's about it. But Krump actually got me a chance to go to France. And that was crazy. You know, I was only 19 years old. I'm in France for like 5 days. It was my current big homie at the time, Rascal. We showcased an event, hosted an event, all kind of just crazy stuff. And it was amazing, you know, being so young and having that opportunity to go overseas for the first time.
That's dope. That's really dope. Man, like, it just sounds like it was so, like, cool back then. I mean, I'm not saying Krump isn't cool because it's just different. I'll say that. Like,
Right.
being so far removed from, like, the actual start, like the mecca,
Right.
like,
Right.
really, like, I don't know, like, it's kind of like I wish I could travel, like, time travel back to that time, but how I am now, like.
No, it's definitely, honestly, I wish it was, I mean, gosh, if that was possible, yeah, I would love for everybody to get a taste of that. Just spend one day, you know, in my generation, just get just a little taste of it and see like how different it was. And I mean, you know, in a positive way too, also in a negative way. And a lot of our negativity came from us being very young. You know, not like now you got 30-year-olds on Krumper's page arguing over who threw an arm swing and who didn't. It's like, what? You know, it doesn't make sense. But, you know, back then we made a lot of mistakes just being young. You know, we didn't have that we only had about, I want to say a solid 10, probably parents, adults, actually around a bunch of 16, 17-year-olds, and it's about 300 of us. You know, so we're kind of running wild. You know, we're just making dumb mistakes. But yeah, it was it was fun. And honestly, the best way to describe Krump back in the day, it was an exclusive cool kids club. You couldn't just walk into it. You had to know somebody to bring you in. That was the only way. You know, it wasn't big yet. It wasn't worldwide. It wasn't, you know, in music videos. Once it started spreading like that, you know, then it was like it opened, you know, the threshold for everybody to come in. But just imagine an exclusive club in your city. Then you get to run around whenever you want to without your parents. You know, that was Krump.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. No, it just sounds like freeing, and also I see the difference, like how it was expressed. Like you could actually see like emotion and authentic feeling. And like now there are like sprinkles here and there.
Right. No, I agree.
My brother that doesn't Krump at all, but he's watching it and stuff. He was like, it's something like they used to make me feel something. Like
that's how it was introduced to me, as a safe haven. You know, growing up in LA, people had broken homes, you know, to a certain extent, and you get to actually meet up. This is Krump. Krump is Neverland, and everybody are Lost Boys. That's the best way to describe what Krump was for us. So it's like we're in this imaginary world that we created, you know what I mean? And with no outside influence, you know. So definitely it was freeing, because I was taught that it's a self-expression. You know, I went to sessions where I would see grown men crying, and then they get in that session and it's like everyone's crying. You know, you're expressing your feelings, you're getting everything out, whether they're positive or negative. And that's what the session was about. That's why it's called the Heart of Krump. Yeah. You know, that's why we linked up. We didn't just session just to laugh. It was like, hey, so-and-so's mom died. We got to get together. Or someone got shot. Or I'm just having a bad day. I need to see my friends. I need to get off. You know, so that's why you would see so much emotion in the dancing back in the day, more than you see it. You know, not so much now. I mean, maybe I can't say why someone's dancing, you know, but definitely we were wearing our emotions on our shoulders for sure when we were dancing back then.
Yeah. All right. So what is some advice that you would give to a young girl that is starting in Krump?
I tell everyone, not a young girl, know why you're dancing. You know, ask yourself, what am I here for? Am I dancing because the last Krumper was cute and I want to be around a bunch of cute guys? Or, you know what I mean? Like, seriously. Or, you know, am I here to meet friends? Like, what am I doing this for? You know, and that will answer everything that you ever question when you're dancing. Because if I'm dancing for someone else, it shows. You know, if you're dancing for someone else, you get emotional, you know, you trip off of a loss, and it's not about that. If I'm out here expressing myself, whether you like it or not, that's what it is. I liked it, you know. So it's all about loving yourself. Honestly, that's how you can maneuver in this Krump world without getting your feelings hurt. You know, because right now everyone is all about belittling everybody. It's not about that. You know, if you felt like, hey, I expressed myself the best way I knew how, who could tell you you're wrong? You painted that picture. You know, so that's my advice. Just know what you're dancing for, you know, and hopefully it's for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Are there any is there anything that you would like to bring to Krump? Like any projects or anything that you
Yes, I definitely am. Well, everything just kind of got like sideswiped with this whole Rona. So definitely I'm going to bring out some more merchandise for next year. Once, everybody gets in the groove of throwing events and everyone feels, a little more safe. So definitely merchandise is coming. Again, I did the pins for EXP. So I'm definitely bringing some more Krump pins to the game. Right now, as far as my dancing, I'm labbing so that when I have these kind of interviews, you have some reference to, who I am. Because when I was dancing, there was, it was no YouTube. So, and just opening my door to anybody that wants to talk and, be a positive role model for anybody, women or male. So that's pretty much my goals, keeping them small right now until we get a little more freedom physically. But definitely merchandise is coming.
Okay. Are there is there anyone in the Krump world that you would like to collaborate with?
Man, yes, of course. We spoke about it definitely when it comes to the rookies, outside of you, little Encore, man. She's her personality alone is like, oh man, you were amazing. I talked to Lady Eyes about some collabs with some just some projects. Definitely Miss Prissy, whenever she has a time. If I, that was a goal always. Like I gotta do something with with the queen. And just right now, honestly, as far as collabing, I'm just collabing with a lot of my OGs in Vets. And, you just never know what might come out of that.
So what is some of the best advice that you received from a Krump?
Oh, man. My old big homie, Big R. Oh, man. I'm going to give you some advice. I hope people really take this advice because it's not deep, but it's deep. I remember when we started getting the internet, everything, social media started booming in Krump. And this is for Krump too. It's all about your image and how you carry yourself. And my big homie told me, he said, don't ever put anything on the internet that you don't want your children to Google 10 years later. From the arguments to the pictures to anything, that's that advice. I live by that for sure. And that's the same with, like I said, the arguing and the self-doubt with the Krump, seeing people talk about, oh, you didn't like my battle. It's like, are you okay, bro? Like, why are you on here talking? So this your image, it's all about your image and how you talk and how you carry yourself. It goes a long way, especially in this dance. The more confident you are, the more buck you look. You can be whack, but they be like, hey, you know what? I believe that round. Like, I believe that round. I felt that round, but definitely it's just all about just like I said, it goes back to loving yourself. So that's the best advice I can give this generation, as well as my old generation too. They're still out here doing the same thing.
Well, what are some of your hobbies or your interests outside of
Oh man, I'm into film. I'm a movie buff, also inspiring director, writer, all that good stuff. I went to film school, but film is my thing. Man, I love to watch it, dissect it, go against the grain. I'm not one to be like, oh, you like that movie? So did America. I didn't. Like, that's me. I love it because I'm gonna give you facts as to why, things like that. Music, of course. I used to play 3 instruments, but now I just, just listen. That's about it. And of course, video games when I have time. Shoot, that's about it. Film has really taken over right now. That's my main hobby. Hopefully, career in the next 5 years. but definitely film.
Do you see yourself integrating the film and Krump together?
Yes. Oh, of course. Yeah. I already decided with Ella, to help film most of his material when he comes out here on the West. Also, like I said, hopefully collab with Lil Encore because she's a dope photographer. Man, she has a crazy eye. And that's one thing about film. You need a dope director of photography to help you set up those scenes. So just mostly just get back into the editing aspect of film by just help shooting Illa's content and just cutting it up and producing that for sure.
Okay. How did you come up with your name Pixie?
Okay, so in my generation, I was always told that you want to have a Krump name that's the opposite of your get off. So something nice, sweet, something soft. And my old big homie, Little Sticks, it was Sticks' younger brother and sister, Lady Sticks and Little Sticks. After we labbed and trained for so long, he gave us our names, and he gave me Pixie Sticks, like the candy. Because he was like, man, because you get off so raw, you don't even, the name is super sweet and da-da-da-da. And so that's where my name came from.
That's so cute. That's Buck though too, like the concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's smart. Wow. I'm stuck on that. Okay. So what were your different names that you have had over the years?
Okay, so first, well, Pixie is my that's me. That's who I am.
Yes.
My AKAs, I was Girl R under Big R, the Krump King, and Lady Rascal. Okay. So those are the only other two names I went by.
Okay. Thank you. Just for history. That makes. I'm sorry if I made that sound like.
Nah, you're good. You're good.
I'm like, she's not old. She's not.
I am.
She's not
in
that
Krump
much
years.
Me, but in Krump years.
In Krump years, yes, I am very old.
But that's cool. I'm kind of glad that there are people. I'm actually really glad that there are people around that were in the beginning stages of Krump, especially women, because like, yeah, I yeah, how do you say that? I'm just glad. Because we don't really get that perspective that much. Like,
no, definitely, it's important. It's important. It that was so. I'm gonna give you a little gem about my generation. We didn't have our OG women in Krump when we came into Krump because Miss Prissy was on tour. Then you had like Daisy, she's a vet before me. She was finding her way in Krump, so she couldn't teach me. Well, I'm trying to figure out who I am in Krump. Then you had, if you've seen Shake City or Get Krump, Storm and Lil Choo Choo, all of them, they stopped. I actually got to meet Storm for the first time last year, and I asked her, I said, hey, what happened? And she said she didn't believe Krump was going to go any further than what it was when she danced. That's why she just stepped away. And I'm like, that's crazy. And I told her, like, yeah, we kind of needed your influence. But she was a kid too, so it's like, I understand. So that's kind of why I'm still around, because I understand the importance of having someone, and not having someone to guide you. We were guided by a bunch of guys. We're women, until Prissy would come back and, sit with us, hang out with us, but then she's off again, do another gig, so it was really hard. It's like having a parent that's rich, or they, and they work for like some law firm or whatever, and they're always out of town. It was like that. Definitely that's what it was, so it was like me and Prissy got closer as we got older, so definitely being around is very important.
Okay. But yeah, like, it was nice actually meeting you last year, because that's when our connection started. So like
Definitely.
so yeah, thank you. Cause like now I'm getting more have more women around me and stuff, but like in my state, I'm pretty much the only one. I'm not gonna say I'm the
Yeah.
only one, because there are
Right.
some other people, but like I'm like the most active in my state, and yeah, so it's like kind of
Gotcha.
hard when I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to do, and then other people are like, "Hey, I'm interested in Krump too," and I'm like, I'm not really like I can
Right.
teach necessarily, but like they don't want to learn from a man, and you know, so it's like a lot.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of pressure.
so it's kind of like being a kid starting out, but I'm not a kid. I'm a grown up.
No, I understand. Trust me.
What's your favorite shoe to come?
My Vans. My Vans. And a lot of people don't like dancing in Vans, but I've danced in them for so long. I've grown accustomed to them. But Vans for sure. I did the Timberlands. They were too heavy on my ankles. That was not cool. Unless you're trying to stand on your toe like tie-dyes. I'm like, why am I dancing in Timberland boots? And I did the Chucks. That was the LA thing. And then SB dunks were hot. I did that when that was hot, and the Blazers. But ultimately, it was Vans. I'm like, let me just stick to what I know, because it was a trend in Krump. The shoe mattered. But after a while, I was like, yeah, the shoe doesn't make or break you at this point. So definitely my Vans for sure.
Um. Does your family support you with your like back then, like, well, in general, does your family support your career?
Yeah, definitely. See, when it comes to Krump, it was one of those things where it being so fresh, I didn't want to share it with anybody, like my family. It was like, no, this is my secret club. You can't come in. Like, so, but my friends, my best friend, my cousins, my brother, they were there. They would come to the events, the sessions, because they just wanted to see what I was doing. And as far as my parents, nah, because my parents, they grew up. I mean, I grew up, but Tommy the Clown was a thing, in the '90s.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, okay, you're gonna go over there and just dance with them. That's fine. They didn't care. It was just another clown dance, whatever, like that kind of movement. So they always support me. They took me to the events.
Yeah.
Picked up my friends, took us to the sessions, but they never stayed. They just let me have my own personal, just experience.
Okay. Nice. Now I'm just like trying to come because it's like there's so much stuff that I like wanted to ask, but yeah, it kind of slipped. What's your idea of what's your idea of no, that's do you have anything that you would like to share or any shout outs or anything like that?
Shout outs. I mean, just anybody that's pushing the movement in a positive direction, shout out to them. From just merchandise to teaching online, throwing events, that's heavy. To throw an event, that's a lot of pressure, financially, and just, and one thing about Krumpers, we love to be late. So organizing these type of people, man, I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. So shout out to, the people that throw events, that keep the movement, thriving, and just putting positivity into the movement, definitely. Shout out to them.
All right. Anything else that you would like to say that I didn't add?
Nah, you nailed it. You nailed it.
Yeah. That's probably why I couldn't think of nothing else to say.
You nailed it.
All right. Thank you, Pixie, for coming and interviewing with me, because
Oh,
like
definitely.
I really, we need these perspectives.
Oh,
So
definitely.
thank you. And thank you everyone else for tuning in to this week of Women Krump Wednesday. Butterfly and Pixie, be out.
Awesome.
Women Krump Wednesday, where the women in Krump are celebrated for what they do so well every day. Because the women in Krump are buck in every way. On Wednesdays, we get bug. Yeah.